Hello, devoted drama devotees, and welcome back to another pulse-pounding edition of TV Day's Drama Digest, your ultimate sanctuary for all things soap opera sensational. If you're anything like us here at the channel, your heart races at the mere whisper of a plot twist, your pulse quickens with every forbidden romance, and your soul ignites when a villain slinks into the frame, ready to unravel the fragile threads of fate. Today, we're not just sharing news. We're igniting a firestorm of anticipation because Salem is about to bleed drama from every shadowy corner. Buckle up, because we're diving headfirst into the electrifying casting bombshell that's got the entire Days of Our Lives fandom on the edge of their seats. The arrival of the legendary Hawthorne James as the enigmatic new stalker terrorizing the streets of Salem. Picture this: the quaint, clock-tower-shadowed town of Salem, where love triangles morph into lethal quadrilaterals, where family secrets fester like open wounds, and where the line between ally and adversary blurs into oblivion. For over 5 decades, Days of Our Lives has been the beating heart of daytime television, a sprawling tapestry of heartbreak, redemption, and unrelenting intrigue that has captivated generations. From the iconic hourglass that counts down our collective doom to the Horton family tree that's more twisted than a DiMera vendetta, this soap has taught us one unbreakable truth. In Salem, no one is safe, and danger lurks in the most unexpected places. And now, on September 20th, 2025, the producers dropped a revelation that feels like a thunderclap in a thunderstorm. Hawthorne James, the gravel-voiced titan of cinema and stage, is stepping into the fray as a brand new stalker character, poised to prey on the vulnerable and upend the delicate balance of power in this fictional haven of havoc. But hold on, this isn't just any casting call. This is a seismic shift, a dramatic infusion of gravitas and menace into a storyline that's already simmering with teen turmoil, forbidden pregnancies, and the kind of moral ambiguity that keeps us hitting next episode at 2 a.m. on Peacock. And at the epicenter of this storm? None other than Sophia Choy, the fiery, unapologetic teen firebrand portrayed by the breakout sensation Rachel Boyd. As whispers from the set reveal, James's shadowy figure isn't just lurking. He's been tasked with a sinister advisory role, whispering poison into Sophia's ear, manipulating her choices, and steering her toward a precipice of no return. Is this the spark that ignites a full-blown inferno? To truly grasp the magnitude of this casting coup, we must first journey back to the gritty streets of Chicago, where a young James Hawthorne, born on May 1, 1954, to the devoted Robert Hawthorne and A.M. Aileen, first felt the inexorable pull of the spotlight. Growing up on the South Side, amid the symphony of jazz horns and the rhythm of resilient dreams, young James was no stranger to performance. His siblings, trailblazers in their own right, had already left their mark on the Catholic schools of the neighborhood, but by the time James arrived, the nuns were wise to the Hawthorne charm, a blend of mischief, magnetism, and unyielding determination. "They knew us too well," James once quipped in a rare, soul-bearing interview, his deep baritone rumbling like distant thunder. Relocating to Michigan as a boy, he transformed from a classroom rebel into an honor student, but the stage called louder than any textbook ever could. Armed with a bachelor's in theater from the University of Notre Dame and a master's from the University of Michigan, James didn't just dip his toes into acting, he dove in headlong, teaching drama at Illinois State University before storming the gates of Hollywood. But oh, what a storm it was! Arriving in Tinseltown, he bypassed the audition cattle calls for the raw, unpaid passion of the Inner City Cultural Center, ICC, where he honed his craft under the watchful eye of mentors like Jim Potter. It was here, amid the sweat and spotlights of community theater, that James learned to wield his imposing 6 feet 2 inches frame not as a weapon, but as a canvas, painting characters with layers of vulnerability beneath their armored exteriors. And then, the roles that etched his name into the pantheon of cinema immortals. Let's start with 1991's The Five Heartbeats, a musical masterpiece that pulsed with the soul of Motown and the sting of ambition's underbelly. As Big Red Davis, the no-nonsense manager with a heart as expansive as his scowl, James delivered a performance that was equal parts mentor and menace, a man who could cradle a dream in one hand and crush it in the other. Audiences didn't just watch Big Red, they felt him, in the way he barked orders during rehearsal scenes or softened his gaze during the group's triumphant rise. That role was my Richard III, James reflected, drawing from Shakespeare's tragic kings to infuse the funeral scene with a Shakespearean gravitas that left theaters in hushed awe. Critics raved, fans wept. It was the kind of breakout that doesn't just launch a career, it catapults it into legend status. If Hawthorne James is the storm cloud gathering on the horizon, then Sophia Choy is the lightning rod at its core, a character whose very existence crackles with controversy, complexity, and the kind of raw vulnerability that makes Days of Our Lives indispensable. Introduced in the spring of 2024 as the sharp-tongued bestie to Holly Jonas, Ashley Puzimis, Sophia was never meant to be a wallflower. Portrayed initially by Madeline Keentz with a blend of wide-eyed innocence and simmering rebellion, she burst onto the scene as the quintessential Salem teen, privileged yet precarious, loyal yet lacerated by her own ambitions. But oh, how the plot thickened. In a whirlwind of hormonal haze and high-stakes high school drama, Sophia found herself entangled in a web with Tate Black, Leo Howard, the brooding heir to the Kyriakis empire whose charm is as dangerous as his lineage. What began as stolen glances in the halls of Salem High escalated into a clandestine encounter, a night of youthful indiscretion that left Sophia pregnant, her world fracturing like glass under a hammer blow. The revelation hit like a supercell. A baby on the way, a mother, the formidable Dr. Choy, a new edition played with icy precision by Serena Scott Thomas, forbidding abortion with surgical finality, and a rivalry with Holly that simmered into a full boil. Sophia's choices, deceptive, desperate, defiant, mirrored the moral mazes that have defined Salem since Marlena Evans's possession in the 90s. Enter Rachel Boyd, the Canadian import whose takeover of the role on February 12, 2025, feels less like a recast and more like a rebirth. At 24, with credits in the bold type as the enigmatic Chelsea and Boot Camp as the resilient Willow, Boyd brings a worldly edge to Sophia's saga. I auditioned 9 months ago, hiding under a PS stand at my serving gig. She laughed in a candid soap opera digest sit-down, her Toronto lilt cutting through the nerves. They called, and boom, from a small-town farm to LA lights. Sophia and I? We're both unapologetic go-getters. She's sure of what she wants, even if it's messy. Boyd's Sophia isn't just surviving, she's scheming, using Holly as a pawn in a bid to conceal her pregnancy, all while Tate grapples with the fallout, torn between duty to his fractured family and the pull of young love. Sophia's arc is a powder keg, forbidden flings, family feuds, and the ever-looming specter of exposure. Her mother, a surgeon whose bedside manner is as cutting as her disapproval, embodies the generational chasm, a woman who fled war-torn roots only to wage her own battles in Salem's sterile halls. And Holly? The once fragile ingenue has hardened into a rival queen, her own drug-fueled demons, echoing Nicole Walker's storied past, fueling a jealousy that could curdle milk. As Sophia navigates this minefield, school dances turning into confessionals, midnight texts laced with lies, she's the perfect vessel for chaos. Vulnerable yet venomous, her pregnancy isn't just a plot point. It's a Pandora's box, unleashing questions of agency, forgiveness, and the brutal cost of secrets in a town where walls have ears. #### The Devil's Whisper, unpacking the stalker's sinister advisory role. Now, the meat of the madness. Hawthorne James's unnamed stalker isn't a blunt force brute crashing weddings with a shotgun, though, in Salem, that's not off the table. No, this is a serpent in the garden, a shadowy counselor slithering into Sophia's orbit, his advice as seductive as it is sabotaging. Announced on September 20th, 2025, via a cryptic Peacock press release that teased a voice from the darkness, guiding the lost to perdition, James's character emerges as the anti-mentor Salem desperately needs, or dreads. Imagine Big Red Davis reimagined as a predator, that same rumbling authority, now twisted into manipulations that prey on Sophia's insecurities. Why Sophia? Sources close to the writer's room, fresh off a 2025 overhaul emphasizing core families like the Hortons and DeMoras, hint at a backstory laced with tragedy. Perhaps he's a disgraced relative, echoing Abe Carver's mayoral machinations, or a vengeful ex tied to the Kiriakis' underworld. His advising begins subtly, a chance encounter in the dim glow of the Brady pub, where he overhears Sophia's tearful phone call to an underground clinic. "Choices like yours don't vanish, child," he murmurs, his voice a velvet trap. "They evolve. Let me show you how to wield them like a weapon." From there, it's a descent, tips on forging alibis that ensnare Tate deeper, whispers that fan the flames of her feud with Holly, nudges toward alliances with the likes of E.J. DiMera, Dan Fioregal, whose own skeletons could fill a graveyard. This isn't mere meddling, it's psychological warfare, the kind that harkens back to the show's golden era of possession plots and cult cabals. James's stalker embodies the theme of corrupted guidance, a dark mirror to the paternal figures who've shaped Salem, from Roman Brady's tough love to Victor Kiriakis' iron fist. For Sophia, already teetering on the brink, his influence could be cataclysmic. Does she abort in secret, dooming her soul to Stefano-level guilt? Ally with him to blackmail her mother, fracturing the Choy facade? Or turn the tables, exposing him as the monster he is, only to unleash a revenge arc bloodier than Kristen DiMera's bridal betrayals? The drama escalates in layers. Picture a blackout plunging Salem into inky peril, as teased in the September 20th preview, where the stalker's silhouette haunts Sophia's every step, a gloved hand slipping a poisoned note under her locker, a distorted call tracing her steps home. Tate, ever the reluctant hero, senses the rot but can't pierce the veil. Holly, blinded by envy, mistakes the advice for sorority solidarity. And as the pregnancy swells, metaphorically, in soap time, Sophia's decisions ripple outward. Xander cooks, Paul Telfer. Shady dealings intersect when the stalker leverages old Kiriakis' debts. Marlena Evans, Deidre Hall, clocks the manipulation during a therapy session gone awry. It's a symphony of suspense, with James conducting from the wings, his every line a landmine, his presence a promise of pandemonium. ##### fan frenzy and foreshadowings. What lies beyond the shadows? The internet, that glorious gossip mill, exploded post-announcement. X, formerly Twitter, timelines flooded with #Hawthorne in Salem, fans dissecting his speed grit against DOOL lore. Big Red managing EJ's next scheme? Iconic, one user raved. Reddit threads dissected Sophia's recast, praising Boyd's fiercer fire over Kinsa's fragile frost. TikTok edits mashed James's 7 shadows with hourglass sands, amassing millions of views. Even veterans like Suzanne Rogers, Maggie Horton, since 1973, chimed in on Instagram. "Welcome, Hawthorne. May your stay be as stormy as our sands." But beyond the buzz, the implications are seismic. Days of Our Lives enters its 61st season in 2025, honoring legacies while forging futures. Anniversary episodes in November promise returns. Theo Penglis's Tony, Leanne Hunley's Anna, amid this fresh menace. Writers, under new stewardship, vow core family dynamics with a diabolical twist, positioning James's stalker as the fulcrum. Will he claim Sophia as a protege, molding her into a mini-manipulator? Or redeem himself in a twist worthy of John Black's Resurrections? One thing's certain. In a show that survived assassinations, amnesia epidemics, and alternate realities, This edition feels like destiny's dark joke. Dear TV Days Drama Digest faithful, as the clock ticks toward Hawthorne James's debut, tune in this week on Peacock for the first glimpses. We implore you, hit play, share your theories, and let the drama consume you. Is Sophia doomed to dance with devils? Will Tate's valor vanquish the void? And you, yes, you, with a remote in hand and the heart full of hope, are you looking forward to James's arrival? Drop your hot takes in the comments, smash that like button if Salem's shadows stir your soul, and subscribe for more exclusives. Because in the world of soaps, we're not just watchers, we're warriors in the war of whispers. Until next time, remember, like sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives, treacherous, tantalizing, and utterly unforgettable. Stay dramatic, stay devoted. This is TV Days Drama Digest signing off, but the shadows? They're just beginning to stir.